10 terrifying myths that still haunt humanity. Throughout human history, humans have looked into the darkness and seen things they couldn't explain. Creatures hiding in forests, voices coming from empty houses, shadows moving where nobody should be. Some of these stories were created to explain the unknown. Others were passed down for hundreds, even thousands of years by people who truly believed they witnessed something impossible. But the question remains, were they only myths? Or were some of these terrifying legends inspired by something real? Today, we count down 10 of the darkest myths ever told, starting with number 10.
The Skinwalker. Deep in the legends of the Navajo people lies a terrifying figure known as the Skinwalker. According to folklore, a Skinwalker is not a normal creature. It is said to be a person who uses forbidden magic to transform into animals, or even imitate humans. Stories describe them appearing as wolves, coyotes, strange creatures, or even someone you know. But what makes Skinwalkers terrifying isn't just their appearance, it's what they can do. Legend says they can copy voices. Imagine walking alone at night in the wilderness. Suddenly, you hear someone you love calling your name from the darkness. You move closer, only to realize something is wrong. The voice isn't coming from a person. It's coming from something pretending to be one. But if a creature that can imitate humans sounds terrifying, number 9 is even worse. In the frozen forests of North America, ancient legends tell the story of the Wendigo, a creature born from hunger, greed, and the darkest parts of human nature. The Wendigo is described as a tall, terrifying figure with unnatural features, frozen skin, and an endless desire to consume human flesh. But the original legend was not only about a monster, it was a warning about what happens when humans lose their humanity. The idea was simple. A person who gives in to greed and violence can become something worse than a monster. And if a monster created by human darkness wasn't enough, number 8 brings a legend that appears at your own front door. The Black-Eyed Children. Unlike ancient monsters, the legend of the Black-Eyed Children is surprisingly modern. Reports began appearing in the late 1990s. People claimed that children with completely black eyes appeared at their doors late at night. They didn't scream, they didn't attack, they simply asked to be invited inside. Those who encountered them described feeling extreme fear and a strange sense that something was deeply wrong. The legend says these children cannot enter unless they are invited, and that's what makes the story so disturbing, because the danger isn't breaking into your home. The danger is opening the door yourself. But strange children are not the only mysterious beings people claim to have seen. At number 7, we meet a creature with glowing red eyes and wings.
The Mothman. In 1966, a series of strange sightings shocked a small town in West Virginia. Several people claimed they saw a large humanoid creature with glowing red eyes and massive wings. They called it the Mothman. Witnesses described it following cars, flying above roads, and appearing before a tragic bridge collapse. Some believe it was a warning. Others believe it was simply a misidentified animal. But decades later, the story of the red-eyed creature continues to attract people searching for answers. And from creatures in the sky, we move to one of the most famous ghost legends in history, La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. Across Latin America, one ghost story has terrified generations. The legend of La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. According to the story, a woman lost her children and was consumed by grief and regret. Now her spirit is said to wander near rivers at night, crying and searching for them. Parents use this story as a warning to keep children away from dangerous places. But many people claim they have heard a woman's crying near empty rivers, even when nobody was there. And while some spirits are said to haunt places, others are believed to exist in a world hidden from humans. At number 5, the Jinn. For centuries, stories about the Jinn have existed throughout Middle Eastern culture. In Islamic tradition, Jinn are described as beings created from smokeless fire, existing in a world unseen by humans. Unlike simple monsters, Jinn are often described as intelligent beings with their own choices. Some stories describe helpful Jinn. Others describe dangerous encounters involving deception, fear, and mysterious events. Belief in Jinn is deeply connected to religion and culture, while many supernatural stories about them come from folklore passed through generations. But from invisible beings, we move to a creature said to walk through the forests of New Jersey. The Jersey Devil. In the forests of New Jersey, one legend has survived for more than 250 years. The Jersey Devil. Described as a creature with wings, horns, claws, and a terrifying scream. According to legend, a woman gave birth to a strange creature that escaped into the forest. Over the years, hundreds of people claim to hear strange noises and see an unknown flying creature. No physical evidence has ever proven its existence. But the legend refuses to disappear. And now, we enter the top 3. The myths that have terrified people for centuries. The Headless Horseman. Few images are more frightening than a rider carrying his own severed head. The Headless Horseman appears in many European legends. The story describes a ghostly warrior who rides through the night searching for victims. The most famous version comes from the story of Sleepy Hollow, where a mysterious rider hunts a terrified man through the darkness. But long before fiction, legends of headless spirits existed across different cultures. And at number 2, we reach a fear that exists in almost every civilization. Demons and Satan. Throughout history, almost every civilization has had stories about evil supernatural beings. Entities that tempt humans, deceive them, or try to destroy them. In many religions, Satan represents the ultimate symbol of evil and rebellion. Stories of demonic encounters have been recorded for centuries. Some people believe these events are spiritual experiences. Others explain them through psychology, fear, or misunderstanding. But one thing is certain. The fear of evil has been one of humanity's oldest fears.
And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen,
The Grim Reaper. Perhaps the most universal symbol of death. The Grim Reaper. A mysterious figure wearing a dark hood, carrying a scythe, and appearing when someone's life is about to end. Different cultures have created different versions of this figure, but the meaning remains the same. The fear of death. The Grim Reaper represents the one thing every human being must eventually face. The unknown. From creatures hiding in forests to spirits walking through the night, these myths reveal something fascinating about humanity. They show our deepest fears, our imagination, and our endless search for answers. Maybe these stories are only legends, or maybe some mysteries are still waiting to be discovered. Which myth do you think is the most terrifying? Tell us in the comments. Subscribe for more dark mysteries, forgotten history, and unexplained stories.